Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The day I'm going to go with the journey begins, but in any event, welcome to A Day in the Office, episode 16. Now, as you well know, day in the office is a pretty cut and dried little issue. This is just me working in the office doing what I do. But you are more than welcome to join in. Ask questions from pretty much any topic you've got available. Okay, and we're over here. We are live. Here we go. Okay. Well, I don't need that. And here we go. Operation Shutdown. You are in with the gold. How you doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, let's get this up. Whoop. Things are still, to say the least, a little haphazard for me most of the time. But so I wanted, yep, buymeacoffee.com/inner voice J. That is in. Now, ain't that a wonderful little setup? I actually got it to go right this time. Now, hopefully that link works. So what do we got here? Okay, now, gotta get some of my office cleared off. It's been one of those days. Just yesterday and the day before, I had a very important file containing a lot of documents, a lot of hard to come by documents that went missing. More to the point, the file folder was there, but all the paperwork disappeared. However, today, and by the way, yes, my number 2 son was actually witness to it. Yeah, it was operation. It's rare he takes it that he's got the time to do that. But it was nice to see him there. You know, the thing is, I don't actually get onto his show very often. I get on the first Friday of the month, and that's just about the only time I've got to do it. I gotta check and see if this works. Why is that not working? I would love to know why that link doesn't work. So I'm going to have to talk to Storm tonight and find out what the heck is going on. I'm very curious about that. This is what I mean by technology and I do not get along well. Whoop. That's what I needed. I don't get it. Last time that didn't work. This time it did. Go figure. Oh, operation. In answer to your question, that depends on who you ask. Okay. According to public opinion, the answer is yes. Problem is, they weren't. Okay. Joe, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You are in with the silver. The ones that showed up were, quite frankly, Srazazian. Okay. And if you look at and I believe it was the Lakota tribe that turned around and has their own story of how an off-worlder was brought to them. Okay. Which, quite frankly, from my standpoint, due to the fact I remember my past life, as in last lifetime, I died in 1956. Born in 1898 in Chicago, died in 1956. But I'll tell you, I was one nasty individual at that point. Thin Lizzie, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You are in with the bronze today. Now, as you can tell, I am down. Well, actually, you can't tell, but I don't think. Yeah, I've got one end of the dresser now cleared, which means my working counter is done. But now, what do we got here? I strongly recommend, Santa Lizzie, I really recommend you write them down in as much detail as you can. Even if all you get is, I remember wearing a scarf. Even if that's all you get, write it down because it's a starting point to give you an anchor. Nope. Now, where am I? In my case, now I will tell you there are questions coming up, and it's a real toss-up right now. Okay. It's a real toss-up a lot of the time whether my mind's completely shot and how all of this came about. But years ago, when I started writing the Elderbachian Chronicles, my girlfriend at the time took one look at them and went, this looks more like an autobiography than anything else. Now understand, the birth of the wolf pack, the end of an epoch, and the return to paradise, which I'm just about to tie off. I should have it in the next month or two. It's gone into full production. Those three take place after the fall of man. And in case you hadn't noticed, civilization, as much as it's in trouble, hasn't ended yet. Now, what do I got here? Gotta do this. This, by the way, is a neat little list method. Okay, very necessary, works like a charm for me. And I've seen it work for literally hundreds, if not thousands, of other people. Now, you guys can use whichever method you like. I personally use a hard calendar, a hard copy calendar. Uh-oh, here we are. Yeah, Lizzie's gone. Yeah, I think my dyslexia may be from speaking Japanese well. Oh, there you go. Well, I can honestly say that I know a lot of people that have taken Japanese, and it's never, to the best of my knowledge, caused dyslexia. On the other hand, that doesn't mean it can't. Now, this neat little thing here. That's my hard copy calendar. And as you can, well, you probably can't, but if you've ever seen these before, I've got when my different checks are coming in. I've got all the hours I'm sleeping, which, of course, today being the 31st, when did I get up? Oh, that's good. Got up at 3 o'clock this morning. So I've been on the go for a while today. I'm probably going to end up grabbing a nap afterward, like after this stream. Well, after I get home from getting my son. But now, Joe, you said you had a very interesting experience this afternoon in your garage. Gotta ask. Oh, you said you can't quite explain. But I am, you said you are glad that it occurred. Now, what I'm working on here is a couple of factors. Let me just pull this up so I actually know what I'm dealing with. Oh, what is that? Oh, I love these Facebook ones that are all in Japanese. I can't read them, so I just straight delete them. I don't even bother with email, with messages that come in. I can't even read the start of it. Yeah, we don't need that. I'll tell you, one of the biggest time drags that I run into is that way too many people are sending absolutely useless, what I call useless, emails. And so many of them just have stuff that has no interest to me. Okay. Let's plug that in so I don't lose track of it. Now, I have to, that's my note there. I do believe that's got what I need in it, so let's bring it up. Where are we? Oh, minimize that, we can find it easier. Where is the poetic anthology? There we go. Because I want to see if I can grab something out of here. Just a short one. Just gotta wait for it to fire up. Okay, we open that. Let's see if I put it in there. Bingo, that's the one I wanted. This is just a whim, so here you go. Oops, it's too big. Okay, so we do it this way. Delete that. We go this way. We go. We'll fire it in here in 3 steps. Copy. Paste. Nope. I have no idea what the limit is, but obviously that's not going to work. Wonder if we've got a short one in here for you. And I'm just looking through these. And most of the poems I've got but apparently I'm not going to do it this way. So we're not going to worry about that. Suffice it to say, I will be, I think, tying it off today. How many do I got? What I'm doing here is just counting the number in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Nope, gotta find a couple more. I found out something. I've got a book. I've got things that aren't quite organized the way they should be, but I can work with it. Now, what do we got? There we are. Oh, that did not work well. Close that. Let's try that again, shall we? Now, okay, so we have to take a look at this here. Did that get screwed up somewhere? Probably. Ah, there we are. That belongs in there. Okay. Still want to pull a couple of others, but I'm working on finding out where they are. So let us take this. Now, oh, we've already got those set up. That figures. Okay. I don't think, nope, can't do that. Okay. Toby. Over there. It's funny, I managed to get rid of a whole pile of stuff I didn't require. What is this? What do we got? Nathan, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Joe, this is great news. Boils down to your other senses are starting to kick in, and this is actually fantastic. Now you just gotta get used to them. And when is this from? This goes into my insurance. What is it from? Oh. Yeah, still trying to get rid, still getting rid of a bunch of stuff. What have we got? Okay, Joe is in with silver. Rachel, you are in with the bronze. How you doing? Glad you could join us. You know, the neat part about what's going on now with me is literally I'm going through all my stuff here and finding out something rather remarkable. I'm literally utilizing tools that I keep telling you guys to utilize because they work. Now, been debating what to do with this one. Okay. This neat little file. Again, I'm still very much dinosaur. Many of you are likely moved over onto soft copy. I'm still not. Well, that was close. So I am curious what this little file and what this little envelope is. Oh, I know what this envelope was. I'm laying odds these are all empty. Yep, they are. So I can tell you exactly what I did because I couldn't figure out exactly how big I was working with. So when I way back, when I was working on, well, I was putting positive perspectives out in a solid form, I had to literally go down to the mail, down to the post office to find out how much it was going to cost me to ship it. Well, these are just simply the pages that I utilized to figure out the weight of it. Like I said, I'm still very old school. But I will tell you the biggest thing that you got to look at when you're looking at changing the way your life is going, pick a direction, any direction. Decide if you're happy with the way your life is. That's great, stay put. If you're not, all you have to do, and this sounds way too simple, all you have to do is go, okay, I'm making this change to make things run a little more smoothly. Now, that can go down there. This here oh yes. Short work on advertising. And you know, I really don't need this many copies of it. What have we got? Whoa. What the heck? Okay, what do we got? Oh, there we are. Yeah, I'm trying to work on the soft copy. I have no idea what just happened. I turned around and Nathan, I'm glad you're still listed as a moderator because my computer decided it was going to try and remove you. And I mean that literally, it was trying to. You know, I'm still trying to figure out how my computer does things. Yesterday, you know, what do we got? Oh, good. I'm not trying to remove you, rest assured on that. Yesterday, we got a new printer here in my house. We got 3 computers in the house. 2 of them found the new printer just like that. Took Storm about an hour to get things sorted around so that my computer would find the same printer on the same network. Now, this is stuff that I don't need duplicates of. Again, I'm just getting rid of paperwork that I really don't require. Now, what is this? Another copy of the same dang thing. Boy, I kept a lot of stuff I didn't really require. And this is advertising, so there we are. Okay. This particular thing. Articles that have been written. Now, most of these, I think, have gone through Positive Perspectives before. I'm going to have to go through these one step at a time. What is that one? Because what I'm aiming at doing is removing all of this clutter that I've got on all fronts. Well, that is not articles. That ought to be entertaining to go through. No, definitely not, Joe. You've gone through way too much to be still the same person you were. Oh, there we are. Yeah, we all change. That's the one constant in the universe, is we all change. Gotta show you something, guys. This is just a twisted thought. This little guy here. Okay. This is just a completely useless piece of information for you. As you know, I'm sure you've been told, I play D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, now I use it to plan my whole life, to plan the way my business grows, the way my life works. But here's the thing. This little guy, the one character I've got in D&D right now, literally, if he were to stand right there, he would only be about that tall. Okay. This little guy is making all kinds of neat little changes in my gaming world. At the same time I'm using him, I'm reorganizing my entire office, which is why I don't have the mess over here. This is why this shelf is now actually reasonably organized. Now, I think these are probably here we are. Now here's a bizarre question for you guys. Just a thought. Okay, I've got all these old business cards. Okay, in your guys' opinion, especially if we take a look at the idea of those of you that have a business, these cards they're an old design, but the information on them is still solid. Okay. In your opinion, and I'm thinking, in fact, I know I should do that. In your opinion, aside from possibly wallpapering the wall, is there any point to hanging on to these? I've got lots of the new ones of the new design. And I'm thinking that these are just taking up room and likely won't be used. In your guys' opinion, what do you figure? Where am I here? Almost 5 o'clock. Okay. Now, that little book, I talked to him about that one there. Well, that's convenient. Garbage bag that hasn't actually been put to use yet. So let's see if this works. There. That can go there for extra garbage I don't really require right now. And what is this? Again, this is just me puttering around the office, which for me actually makes sense. For you, I don't know. Yeah, they are cardstock. What we got? Can be used for small cardstock for smaller projects. Only one problem with that. They've got picture on both sides or writing on both sides. But not quite certain what to do. I only just came across them in all fairness. This is one of the reasons for going through this junk and getting rid of the surplus. But they're very old, like they're from way back. Probably a decade back, in all fairness. I have no idea what that is. Okay, now where's my coffee? Right there. Oh, okay, so now correct me if I'm wrong here, Nathan, but you're talking about taking paint and literally painting over them. Kind of like a backdrop, if you will. You know, that's not an entirely bad idea. Where did I just put it? Outside the door. Not going very far. Because like I said, I'm a firm believer if you can put oh, there we go. I'm a firm believer that if you can make something out of, make something with your hands and utilize that as a gift, whether it's for Christmas or birthdays, doesn't matter. There we go. It's not an entirely bad idea. Let's just see what I can do here. Not right off the top of my head, but, well, actually, sort of. No, that actually makes sense. And of course, the Lord knows I got enough paint to do it with. But something just dawned on me. Where'd it go? Right here. Now, if I do that, what have I got here? What the heck was that? I have no idea what that was. 3, 4. Nope. It's only 3. Not going to work quite the way I would have liked. Nope. That doesn't work properly at all. Yeah, I heard my computer went ding. Of course, my computer's been doing weird things lately. And I can't quite figure out why. Mind you, I have trouble figuring out anything with my computer. Clearly, you guys didn't hear it. One day I'll figure out computers, but I'm not holding my breath on the when. Where'd it go? Well, this particular frame is not of much use. I know what's going to happen to it. There we go. This particular frame I don't have a lot of use for. I'm just going to pop it in here and talk. And in all fairness, when I'm getting rid of things, they don't tend to go to the garbage unless they're absolutely broken. In all fairness, I don't know. Okay, all I did when I have a problem with the computer, I phone Frank. I go here onto my computer. He goes in, does what he does, as you well know. That means he straightens it out. But I will sort that out. Oh, I know what to do with those. Grab one of these little bins here. Wrong one. What do I got? Huh. There we go. Take that, pop that in there. This is what we call organizing, sort of. Now, you should have seen the mess I had. Somebody decided to remove the contents of an entire folder a couple of days ago and returned it today. Why they took it, where they took it to, I don't know. What I do know is I've got all the important documents back. Now, got that now there, so this can come down. I do believe, yep. Where did I just put it? There it is. Tell ya, gets to be rather confusing on occasion. Whoop, there we go. Yeah. One of these days, Joe, you realize sooner or later you're likely to go out to that cemetery just because you can. Not expecting it anytime soon. But I will tell you, when you get to that point, it opens up a whole new world for you. See, what I'm doing here, some of you have seen them because I send one of these out with each of the books that sell. And I don't think that's working, is it? It's not working, so that is. Well, that's just completely screwballed, but what the heck, I can work with it. So we take this, we unpin that message, we take this one that I just checked, pin that, and now I hit that, and it goes. Perfect. Just testing my link to make sure it worked because it wasn't. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing right, wrong, or indifferent. Some days it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think that's kind of along the same lines of, where are we here? Way down bottom. I almost swear it's kind of like that commercial, the Mounds commercial. Sometimes I feel like a nut, sometimes I don't. In my case, it's more often than not. But, I've had a lot of books in print for a long time. I can now honestly say, not making a lot, but I'm finally making at least some income with them. And for me, that's a very important little step. Okay. Now that can sit up here. Quite happy about that. This goes up there and we're good to go. Now, let's make sure I've got things running properly. This is all scrap paper. Yeah. Which can sit right there, so I got something to work with. And that. Think that is, if I go to, what we got? I would recommend, Joe, just a thought, but go during the day. It's a lot less disconcerting. And the reality is, even if other people come out there, they're not going to complain to you about being in a graveyard. Okay? It's actually a really convenient place to actually connect with people. Well, connect with dead people. You know, the funny part about it is that the reason I say it's better to do it during the day isn't just that, that it's a little less disconcerting, but there are more of the deceased that are at home when they during daylight hours than there are at night. Now, what have I got here? Let's just do this. I'm going to bring this back up to the top. Okay. Now, this is literally a work in progress. It should have been out a long time ago. I thought it was. So we're tying it off. But these are poems that all of these, I'm not reading them out to you. Okay. These are just poems that I have written that are in this anthology that's on the deck there. Angels Are Forever. I've got to go through them. I don't think they're in alphabetical anymore, so that's okay. Finding Yourself. Where is that? There it is. Then we have Gargoyle and Globe. Here's Gargoyle and Globe. Then we've got Helpful Heart and Life's Illusion. So there's Helpful Heart and Life's Illusion. And scroll down here, we have Love, we have Paragon, and Racial Union. This is just literally, where's Paragon? This is literally just a cross-section of the various different poems. I've probably got 100 poems written. There will not be that many. Okay, I won't have that many in this particular volume. Whoop, did I get Racial Union in there? There it is. Now, I do have a curiosity question for you. If anybody's got input, that'd be great. When you're looking at buying an anthology, 2 questions. How many poems would you suggest is a decent number? And at what kind of price are you thinking? I'm looking at a $10 cost, and simply to keep it small, keep it accessible. Okay, Runaway is there. Selfless Helpers and Shadow Stalker. There's Selfless Helpers and Shadow Stalker. Then we have Teenage Troubles and The Veil. Okay, where is it? There's Beyond the Veil, and there's Teenage Trouble. Okay. Here we go, The Skeptic and Words and Emotions. There's The Skeptic, there's Words and Emotions. Then we have World Upside Down. Okay, now that we leave as is. It can be minimized and active. What do we got? Yeah, this is the funny thing. I putter in here so I can get things done. But don't have a lot of people in here, and that's not entirely surprising. However, something just dawned on me, and I should do that. So, I am literally going to be back in a minute, because it's going to take that long to heat it up. Okay. This is not drinkable, people. Definitely not drinkable. Considering it's for paint water. Okay, what do we got here? Well, yeah, but that's what they do. The reality is that's what their job is. Okay, who sent me a message about what? There we are. Okay. Have to deal with this because, well, family first. Now, got that, which works out well, but I've got two neat little projects here. Oop. Grab. Grab this one here. Oop. Paintbrush, and now the item. figure I keep putting this off. I might just well get finished. But I require this. Yep. There we go. Now this is just a plug I don't require. Now, why don't we do this? Get a little more light so we can see what we're up to. Okay. Now, get that out of the way. I'm going to require a sheet layer to lay this on. Okay. Now let's see what we can do about livening this up a little. What do you figure? See, this already has a place to go. So I'm not expecting it to be perfect, but I do want it done properly. You know, the fact of the matter is, if you're going to make something for Christmas or for a birthday, and I really don't know, I know who this is going to, I just don't know which one it's going, whether it's going to be their Christmas or their birthday. But what I do know is it's going to them. Now, some of you my age will recognize who this little gentleman is. Okay, for me, it's just a question of they happen to be a fan of the series. So I stumbled across these a while back and never did get around to doing them. Now I'm looking at it going, it's going to get completed. Not perfect by any means, but let's face it, as Joe Stewart put it one day, I'm not perfect, but I am doing my best. So that's what this boils down to. I just have to be absolutely certain that I do it right, at least in my eyes. What do we got up here? See, the nice part there, Joe, is, and I always look at this, yes, it is technically possible they could stop you. Absolutely, they could. But if you're not doing anything wrong, they will take something as simple as, I just like why I like the feel of the cemetery. They'll think it's a little weird, but they won't arrest you for it because there's nothing that says you're not allowed to go into a cemetery, even if you don't know anybody arrested there. If that were the case, there's a lot of cemeteries that would have nobody in them because there's lots of cemeteries that are quite literally, they are so old that, well, how old are they? They're literally so old that nobody alive today knows who they are. Okay, or more to the point, didn't know them personally. Now this is working out rather nicely. Like I said, this is just literally a project I've been putting off. I figured I might just well get on and get back to dealing with it. It's funny, when you're trying to paint something like this, you only get one shot to do it right. So this is certainly not going to be, Picasso-like. But then, in all fairness, I can barely draw, never mind paint. I wonder if I can do that. See, I look at work like this and go, it's not the fact that it's perfect. Okay, it's more an issue of I put the effort into it, and this is why I quit asking people. Whoops, that's not going to work anymore. This is why I've quit asking people what they want for Christmas and what they desire for Christmas, and just get them what I feel works. Wonder if I've got the other one out there. Pretty certain I do, but since I got orange. Nope. This is another couple of projects I'm working on. It's over there. Let's not drink the salt water. What do you think? Let me see here. You know, Nathan, you actually came up with a really good idea. And I'm just going to see, first and foremost, if this can work. See, the nice part about it is I've actually got a straight edge. Let's see if that works just on principle. I take this, see whether it'll paint over it. Nope. That paint will not go down solid enough. So that takes that option out of the equation. Yeah, and the front won't do it at all. So that cured that problem in a hurry. And since the key here is to dispose of a whole pile of stuff that I no longer have a use for, those can sit there because I know what to do with them. They're just going to take a while. You know, the nice part about it from my end is after all these years, I can now actually say, I can now honestly say, I'm actually generating an income with my writing. Now it's just a question of making it pan out a little better. So, let us take a peek at something here, shall we? Where is... Nope, not that. Did I put it down over here? Nope. Oh, not there at all. So let us go here, bring that file up, and then we go all the way up to desktop. Nope, that's not what I need. Okay. I have no idea how big that can go. What do we got here? Minimize all this. Bring that back up. You know, if I could answer that one, I'd do it myself. You know, the sad part there, Joe, you hit the one topic. You know, Joe Stewart has asked how to overcome anxiety when going to the dentist. It's the one question I haven't been able to figure out. See, decades back, I had a problem with my teeth. I still do, by the way. But I told the dentist that the anesthetic didn't take, and he wouldn't believe me. So I had 2 teeth removed without anesthetic. Since then, I haven't been able to sit in a dentist chair. And I honestly don't know how to get rid of it. Most things is just a question of mind over body. But PTSD is a major issue. Okay, the best I can tell you with some of it, with many people, is they tell that most of the dentists are really good at helping you relax. Unfortunately, what you might want to look into is look into getting fully sedated. Okay, like I mean completely sedated. If they can do it, I mean IV sedation, by the way. Not this idea of put a pill in you and stop you from being able to move. That's just torture. Okay, at least in my eyes. But if you talk to the dentist about IV sedation, tell them flat out pills don't work well. Whether they do or not for you, if you stand your ground and go after IV sedation, you may have to do it in the hospital, which is fine for most people. Unfortunately, that's the other place I got PTSD. Okay. So when you're looking at that, it really boils down to an issue of what do you do with it? And I really, that's like I said, that's one of those neat little areas where I am at a complete loss. Therefore, if somebody can come up with an idea as to how to accommodate that, that'd be great. Unfortunately for me, that is one of those things I never did figure out. This is fortunately slowly taking on a decent run. Still not good enough in my eyes, but then I'm not in a rush for it. I'm just aiming and getting it done this year. The neat part about it, and I tell you, what do we got here? Eyeballs. I gotta really stop looking at how many people are showing up because this just stays like what's happening here is I'm getting things done that I haven't been able to do. Okay, because I just haven't put the time aside. And that in and of itself can be a problem. Okay. By the way, tonight, well, I've been here an hour. The funny part about it is I'm still debating just exactly how much time I'm going to put in, how long I should be here. The reality of it is I got way too many things on the go. And yeah, I probably won't make the 2 hours because I do have to go and get my son. But okay, that is about almost as far as I can. Okay, that boils it down. Take that there, that there. And let me see just who just called. Okay. Okay. Now, where are we here? I do think we are going to end up being short tonight because my son is downtown and family has to come first. Oh, he didn't. Yeah, there was no numbing at all. And that was the whole thing. Unfortunately, now I can't go and see him at all, or anybody else for that matter. But with this in mind, guys, I am going to call this a night because of the fact that, well, frankly, I got his son I got to go and get. But I do want to say thank you so very much for sharing your time with me tonight. Really appreciate it. I will be back again tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific. Okay. And we will be discussing how to handle your money as it comes in. Okay. This is one of those things that way too many people do not really put to use. So, with this in mind, I'm going to have to say thanks so very much for sharing your time with me. Really appreciate it. But I am going to have to fly. So, until we meet again, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive. Tell me.